All right, so I'm Last Man Camping. Chris Jackson's my actual name, my given name, I guess. So on that Wi-Fi topic, I'm a sports junkie. So F1, hockey, baseball, sometimes football, depends on my mood. Um, I just love sports, right? So if there's no Wi-Fi in my camper, and I follow sports year round, so if there's no Wi-Fi, then I don't know how I'm watching my sports. And I've literally sat in under my awning. Wow, complete brain fart there for a second. In a pretty severe thunderstorm with my computer on my laptop or on my lap, watching sports with watching a hockey game up in Big Bear, California once. So that's how dedicated I am. And yes, I know my awning was out during a thunderstorm. So don't, do as I say, not as I do. So we're gonna dive right in here. I don't know if people are, I can actually see the chat. I think we figured out how to have that up and the slides. So going right in. This is our story. And when I say our story, my wife is part of this enterprise too, this endeavor, I guess, if you will. What is that? Is that someone? Oh, okay. Someone asking to be let in. Okay. So my wife is part of our story. She's I think it's growing on her. We'll see as time gives way to the future here. But so I'm a Navy vet. I was active 2003 to 2010. So AT means aviation electronics technician. I was an enlisted guy, made it all the way to E5. And before I decided, hey, there's probably a future outside of the Navy, making more money and doing more things and not missing my family all the time. So I was blessed. I took the opportunity afterward to make the most of that opportunity that I was given to be part of our nation's military. So I'm very grateful for what I have. I kind of parlayed all that into actually being an aerospace engineer. So you see IT&E there, that's integrated test and evaluation for the United States Space Force. And you see my little caveat there. Yes, it's a real thing. It's not just a Netflix show. So the Space Force does exist. I have three daughters, as I previously mentioned. Caden, with who I had with my ex-wife right when I joined the Navy. She's 18 now. It's numbing my mind. Riley, my little monkey, who you may or may not see depending on her attitude. She's almost 4. And then Reagan, who you just saw. I'm scared of spiders. I'll kill them if my wife makes me, but I hate them with all my heart. So Rachel is a fashion veteran, her terminology. She worked for like, I guess, an upscale. I'm not a fashion kind of guy. So an upscale fashion brand in New York City for a long time. Now she's a marketing manager for a learning and development consulting agency. And as a kind of a joke, I guess, she's scared of the fact that Chris is scared of spiders. So we were married in Scottsdale in 2019 at a place called Hotel Valley Ho. You can't camp there, but if you ever get the opportunity, you should definitely go stay there. It's a mid-century modern vibe. Love that place. Haven't been back since, sadly, but we love that hotel. So these are a couple pictures of kind of my life. This is what was the top left here. Was considered my CAG bird, carrier air group. That's why it's painted all pretty. This is on deployment in 2008. We were either supporting Iraq or Afghanistan at this time. I don't remember exactly when the picture was taken. This is what's the railroad called? It's on my hat. The Silverton, the Durango Silverton narrow gauge. Whoa, hello. Durango Silverton narrow gauge railroad in Durango, Silverton, obviously. This is our last year's Christmas photo. So the first 2 years Rachel and I were together, we took our Christmas pictures. And then by year 3, we went back to take a third year Christmas picture for our Christmas cards. And we realized that we were accidentally in the same exact order for the first 2 years. So now every year we're in the same order. Sadly, there's been a couple changes. We used to have two Siberian Huskies. The one passed away, and then Riley came along, and then Caden moved out, and Reagan came along. So we do what we can, but we try to maintain the same order. Just kind of a cool little family tradition. This is Reagan. We're not real sure what she's doing here or what kind of future she has, but she's super cute. So I don't know why she's eating the table, but we'll see as time unfolds where she goes. This is Riley at the what museum was that in Pensacola at the Naval Air Station there, sitting in an old E2 aircraft, E2A, I think, very old now at this point. This is our rig with our truck that we no longer tow with because we can't. And we'll get into that discussion in a little while. Riley painting while we were camping. This is actually me right here, doing the thumbs up, Top Gun style. This is Riley in San Diego on one of our camping trips, and this is actually me when I weighed 100 pounds 20 years ago. Okay, so into the important stuff. That's a little bit of my background, and I wanted to share who I am, where I'm coming from. And I guess before we go into goals for today and the maintenance stuff, I grew up camping. I literally used to, well, my mom and obviously my uncle, my mom's brother, are from Pennsylvania, and I used to live in Maryland way back in the day. And my uncle used to drive down and pick me up and take me on 2-week-long camping trips every summer. And I don't mean glamping, I mean camping. Like, we did a 42-mile canoe trip down the Allegheny. We've been all over Pennsylvania camping. And then as a side note, the first time my, at the time, to-be wife took me to her home, we drove over this bridge at the Kinzua Dam in Western Pennsylvania. And I was like, hey, that's weird. This looks familiar. Is there a putt-putt and an ice cream place up here? And she goes, yeah, how did you know that? So long story short, I had camped right outside of where she would have lived when she was a little girl. So small world, kind of one of those cool serendipitous things. So goals for today, I really want to grow my community. That's first and foremost to me. I'm not going to sit here and try to say that, our goal is not to ever make money doing this, but right now I want to build the community, and I want to help people that want to RV or even just go camping. I want to help them along the path. So we have a couple links here, and that's why I put the first one. The first one is the most important one, in my opinion. It's the Facebook groups link. Excuse me. And these are all on the very last screen as QR codes. So no reason to try to jot them down quickly here. It's not a rush. They'll be shown at the end, and you can go ahead and scan those QR codes right off your computer screen and go there. So if you have a Facebook, please, by all means, when this seminar is over, go join up and meet it's not even 200 people yet, but it's just started. So we're just trying to grow that community. And then our business page is this LMC Adventures. This is our website, our YouTube, and our Instagram. So right now, we have two ways that we're potentially profitable. One we'll get to in a minute, but the first one here is this one-on-ones. What we'd like to do, and we just started these, so the booking, scheduling, and the meeting will all occur within Facebook and Facebook chat. They have a video chat function, so that's all based off of the LMC Adventures page. So you can book, I think it's $10 for 30 minutes. I haven't even checked. Like I said, the money is kind of ancillary as we want to grow the community first. So during these calls, we can provide anything that you're looking for. Is it you need help hooking up your sewer line, or questions about how your absorption refrigerator works, all that kind of stuff. So just anything you really want to ask. And I'm an engineer now by trade, as I mentioned, so I'm very resourceful, and with the internet out there, there's probably not a question that you can ask me that I won't be able to answer, at least in short time. So, if you give me 24 hours, if you stump me, you give me 24 or 48 hours, I'll probably still be able to provide you an answer. Maintenance background. So, like I said, to Tara and Christine, my wife helped make this pretty, because I'm an engineer and I just had a bunch of bullets, and she was like, hey, it's kind of boring looking. So she added these little bang boxes over here. We've learned literally everything we know about RVing, including our RV maintenance, just by doing it. So don't let that hold you back. And Christine talked about that last night. So just and the kind of parallel bang box that I actually added was, if you want to get in shape, what do? You exercise. So either way, you have to just do it. It's all part of the process, and you can't let fear hold you back, because I know a lot of the millennial generation, or whatever, Generation Z, whatever they are now, they use that phrase YOLO, you only live once. And I use it kind of unironically, because I think it's true. You only live once, so get out there and do it, and don't let fear hold you back from doing these things. So that being said, I'm going to scare you a little bit and then try to calm you down. So if you think, a lot of you probably own a house, and you think, hey, this requires a lot of maintenance. I have this plumbing issue, and I have a sprinkler that broke, and this tree needs to be cut down. My windows need to be replaced, all this stuff, right? So that's a lot of maintenance. Now, I want you to take your house and put it on wheels and tow it down the highway at 65 miles an hour. And you notice I put an asterisk because, whoops, because I was, I don't want to get in trouble with the law. Sometimes I may tow faster than 65. So it's stuff rattles, stuff shakes. Sorry, Reagan's crawling past my office. It rattles, it shakes, it comes loose, it comes out, it falls off, all this stuff happens. And so the second bullet here is, this isn't designed to scare you. It's designed to tell you that this stuff is going to go wrong. So it should actually help ease some of your fear, because it's going to happen. So it's not scary if you know how to take care of it, or you know who to reach out to help you take care of it, be it me or YouTube or whatever. It doesn't matter. Just, you can do it yourself. You'd be very surprised how easy 99% of this stuff is. So the bottom line there is, we want you to be prepared with the knowledge that things are going to go wrong. Sorry, Rachel changed a bullet on me, and I was taken aback by what it said. So she reworded something. We have lessons learned and things we saw and that we didn't like, and that's kind of when we were RVing, or when we are RVing. Every time we go out, like every time I even hook up to the rig, it's like, oh, there's something else that I'm not a fan of how it works, or how it looks, or if it's rusting, or things like that. But this is all how we grow, and this is how we get better. And eventually you become, a maintenance expert, or an RVing expert, or, you become RV mama of 4, or you're earning passive income with Tara's, I don't want to call it a lecture because that makes it sound boring, but so my whole maintenance background comes from over 9 years performing maintenance on F-18s. So that's kind of where it is. There's a little bit of lineage before that. My dad he used to do electrical work. Now he's a software engineer. And then my grandfather, before him, was a World War II vet in the Army. And he was, he always knew how to fix the lawnmower or my Game Boy or whatever. He always had. So I think there's some opportunity. Yes, thank you. That's a much better word. Opportunity is a much better word than lecture for Tara's presentation tomorrow. Okay, so things to check regularly. Tire pressures, huge. I like, these are the ones for me. These things on this chart are the ones for me that I can't hit on hard enough. Tire pressures, carry a tire pressure monitoring system, an active one, which means, so there's two styles, there's passive and there's active. So passive is only going to alert you if there is a failure. Active is going to do random checks. So the one we have is the tire minder, and it does I think a 4-minute interval for active, and then as it also acts as a passive tire pressure monitor. So if there is a high rate of air escaping, it will alert me immediately. So it's active and it's passive. Most of them are. So don't scare yourself and overwhelm yourself searching on Amazon for like active, passive. Well, just search for tire minder and you'll probably find one that works for you. Tire health. Are your tires in good shape? How's the tread depth? How are your spares looking? A lot of people, they forget they even have spare tires. It's like, oh, okay. And then they go to change it and it's flat or it's rotted or there's a mouse living in it or who knows? It comes off the bead from sitting in the sun. There's all kinds of things that can happen there. And you need to be prepared for that. So just do the cursory glance of all your tires, and working with the tire pressure monitoring, you should have a good understanding of how your tires are doing. Sorry, baby again. So your lug nuts, long story short, yes, they can back themselves off, especially when your rig is new. The lugs themselves have been greased and lubricated, so they'll be torqued from the factory, but that doesn't mean anything. The factory's just spitting these things out, probably a couple hundred a week or whatever it is, whatever the rate is, and they do their checks and they meet their minimum requirements, but they're not going above that. So let's say, I think mine was assembled in Indiana. A lot of them are, and then it got shipped all the way to California. And then we did, our pickup inspection and stuff where our dealer, I don't want to mention any names, but our dealer, they torqued the lugs and all that kind of stuff. They still missed a lot of details. But they torqued the lugs. We took it home. As soon as we got it home, I rechecked the torques and a couple of them had already backed off. So I think the interval, I know the interval is going to be stamped somewhere on your rig. If you do have a rig, either on the tongue or somewhere near the tires. So it's going to be, hang on one second. Sorry. It's going to be, I know for a fact it's going to be before your first trip, and then every 5 trips after that. And then I think it calms down a little bit as to one check every 10 trips or something like that. But it really doesn't hurt to check it all the time, and it doesn't take that long. Gas leaks. So if you are a weekend warrior and you haven't used your rig in a month or whatever, just take the time, turn on your propane, whichever one is feeding your rig at that time, and go around to all the ports, including your low pressure fitting at the back of your rig where your camp grill goes or camp stove goes, and make sure you don't smell propane. Just like a quick cursory check of leaks. Propane's pretty strong smelling, and there's really nothing more dangerous than towing with propane leaking from your rig. Or on, and we'll get to that in a second. Your seals and your gaskets. A lot of this is referencing either your slide or your slides or your windows. These are going to crack and break. Sometimes the slide ones can get crimped or pinched. And there's something called 303 spray, which is a marine protectant. It's actually designed for aerospace purposes, coincidentally. It's on Amazon. It's a little pricey for each bottle, but it's totally worth it. We put it on every time we wash the rig on anything that's black plastic. including black rubber. So we do it, and I'm looking out my office window because my camper is parked on the side of our house, and I can see how shiny and pretty all the blacks are because we do that 303 spray every time we wash it. So I just mentioned this, or I alluded to this, towing with the propane on. Not my favorite. I'll admit that when we first started RVing, and going back to our first slide, everything we know about RVing, we learned by doing it. So we used to tow with the propane on, thinking, hey, the fridge is keeping our food cold, and we don't have a 12-volt fridge, so our batteries and our solar is not going to power our fridge. So it's either propane or 30 amp connection. So we had no way to keep the fridge powered when we're towing, and it was a concern of ours. So did a lot of research. It's what I do. I research everything all the time. I like to say I know a little about a lot. So the research is so huge, and I ended up discovering a couple of things. One, that absorption fridges, which are the ones that are propane and 30 amp or 50 amp connection, are designed to only work properly when they're straight and level. If they're at too much of an angle, the gas will have a very high potential of leaking. So, and you can see, engineers, I put in this nice little math equation for you. Deregulated propane plus flame equals bad. So pretty straightforward stuff. When the gas leaks, it will meet the pilot light. So if you, for instance, maybe you're going around a sharp turn and your rig is, obviously long, and maybe you drive up onto the curb, potentially that could be enough of an angle for the gas to start leaking and hit, let me rephrase that, deregulated gas to hit the pilot light. And then, you get this, which is why you hear and see stories of so many RV fires. Okay, so there's kind of and you'll see this is a 2-slide part here. So the second thing is, what about my food? So this is where my research comes into play. If you get your fridge and your freezer to temp before you depart, and you stock it the way you want it for your trip, and I don't mean overload it, don't jam it full of everything, because that's going too far in the opposite direction. So, put all your drinks in there, your meats, your foods, all that kind of stuff. And we've actually tested this to a point where we didn't even set the freezer to the coldest setting. We just turned it on so it would be frozen. We put a huge bag of ice in there. We towed 3.5, 4 hours all the way up to Paso Robles from my house, which is probably close to 4 hours, and did not have even one drop of water from that bag of ice, and the fridge was not powered the entire time. There have been other guys on YouTube. I can't think of his name, but he's the one that did a lot of this science, and he actually set it up in different weather conditions, and if it's sunny outside, if it's raining outside, etc. And kind of the middle ground consensus, the median was 6 hours, and you should be fine. Your food is not going to rot in 6 hours. And if you follow the rule of threes, which I'm not going to spill the beans on that because I think there's some other discussion on that one. If you follow the rules of threes, which is the important one, is only towing for 3 hours at a time, your food's going to be fine. Okay, RV door locks. So here's some super cool trivia. Not all RV door locks are keyed differently. And in their defense, they're not all the same either. But you have a lot more chance of, if you went RV to RV, your factory key opening another RV than you do if you take your factory car key and try to open another car that's like yours. What? No. Okay. Sorry, Rachel changed another bullet on me. This should say, why does it keep doing that? That's not just for the entrance and exit doors. The storage bays are almost always keyed the same. So, and you'll also notice that your rig probably has two locks. It has the deadbolt lock and then the pull handle lock that keeps the handle from pulling open. That pull handle lock from the factory is identical for every single rig from the same manufacturer. And if you think about that, like you think, oh, well, just Keystone, but Keystone makes X, Y, Z in different names, right? So like there's only 3 or 4 really true rig builders out there right now. And so all those keys are the same for the lower lock. Now the upper lock is probably, I don't even want to throw a number at it, but it's not as unique as it should be for maximum safety. And when it comes down to the maintenance perspective, I did this, I don't know, a month after we got our rig, 2 months after we got our rig. It cost about $200. It took me like 10 minutes. So it's like 4 screws. You pop it in there, you set your code, boom, you're done. And Tara, as Christine just said in the chat, Tara does have it. So she's familiar with it. She could probably talk to it a little bit more if she wants to as well. The mitigation, like I just said, buy this keyless lock. And I do recommend, I'm not sponsored by or in partnership with RV Lock, but I do recommend their stuff. It's highly rated. It's known for its security. And when you get the lock itself, if you hold it and then you hold your old lock in the same in opposite hands, I mean at the same time, you'll probably notice that the RV Lock feels heavier and of more quality. So that's the first thing I noticed, and it hasn't failed us since. So you know, another benefit to that is when you're leaving, you go on a hike or whatever, you don't need to take your keys with you. Just keep a spare hard key in your tow vehicle hidden away somewhere. That way, if the batteries do die, you can still get into your rig, but you don't need to carry them around everywhere you go. And that way, you're done hiking or you're done tubing down the river or whatever, you can get into your rig with just your 1, 2, 3, 4 combo. Pretty simple. So added security, added safety, added convenience. Hitches and such. So there is a sponsorship here, a partnership, I should say. We are in partnership with WaySafe Trailer Hitches. The greatest thing about them is they provide your tongue weight right on the ball. So as soon as your trailer comes onto the ball and you relieve the tongue jack, you'll see that it tells you how much your tongue weighs at that given time. And it actually allows you to make minute adjustments to level out your vehicle and make sure your tongue weight is within that 10% window that you're looking for. Excuse me, my allergies are killing me. There is a code, actually, because it's embedded in a video, I guess I can provide it here. Just don't write it down in your Facebook groups or anything like that, because it will force the code to be changed. But the code, if you go to way-safe.com, the code is last man towing, all one word, and that'll save you 15% off anything you buy from them. So good discount there. And we like this hitch a lot more than our E2 round bar hitch. It's just more sturdy. It's quieter. It seems to be made of a stronger material. I think that might just be in my mind, but it brought me some more peace of mind for towing. So kind of going from that into the hitch setup and all that stuff. Sorry, the chat keeps getting in the way of my of what I'm trying to read. So do you know that if you are towing, if you are trailering, and I don't just mean RVs, I mean like if you're towing your boat or you have a RV to tow your John Deere tractor or whatever, if you don't know payload cap, tongue cap, GVWR, GCWR, and GTWR, thanks, Christine, GTWR, then you're towing incorrectly. I am like, maybe I should just change my name from Last Man Camping to the Tow Nazi, kind of like the Soup Nazi. No towing for you. This whole thing makes me insane, and it might make my wife a little insane too, because we'll drive down the road and I point out everyone that's overweight, because I can see it. It's almost a guarantee you see just that weird angle where it's sitting too low. And going back to my first or second slide with that GMC Yukon that we still have, we don't tow with it anymore. We were towing too much, and that's what made us buy the Ram, because I am all about the safety. And as an aside there, and perhaps not even as an aside, but maybe a primary thing, if you're towing and you get into an accident, at fault or not, your insurance or their insurance may not provide a payout if the investigation determines that you were towing outside of your spec. So we were just up in a place called Flying Flags, just south of wine country in Southern California, or Central California, really. And I was talking to a guy that had an identical truck to mine. It's a red Ram 2500 Laramie, like everything was the same. So of course we started chatting, and I noticed he had a huge fifth wheel, and I'm like, what's your hitch weight? He's like, oh, it's just 2,400 pounds. I've been towing for like 5 years, never had a problem. I had the airbags. I hate hearing that. Airbags do not provide extra towing capacity. I'll say that again. Airbags do not provide extra towing capacity. Airbags are there just to level your rig. They don't change the amount of weight that you can carry. That's not the point of an airbag. So that it's just a safety thing. If you're towing over your weight like that, you're doing damage to your vehicle, both vehicles, your trailer and your tow vehicle, and potentially ending up with severe issues like the trailer coming free of its mount, things like that. There's all kinds of things that can go wrong. So this is what this big stop sign bang box is about. Just stop doing it. If you have a question, take yourself to a CAT scale, pay the $10 or $15, whatever it is in your state, get the weights done, get it done properly, and make sure you're towing safely. And we're going to go over what each of these is in the next slide. As a quick side note here, kind of put this popular meme, or I guess probably not popular anymore. But what is hitch and ball? It's really ball grease for me. It's just like this. It's basically like Vaseline that you put on your ball, and it's supposed to keep the tongue from sticking to the ball when you remove it. I've actually had more problems using ball grease than I have not using ball grease. So I actually removed all the ball grease from my ball, cleaned it all up, like WD-40, got everything nice and clean, got all the nooks and crannies, cleaned it up really, really well. Haven't used ball grease since, and not once has the tongue gotten stuck on the ball. And the reason it does start getting stuck is because the ball grease actually attracts dirt. So this isn't an expert opinion. It's just an opinion of experience. Ball grease is just a moneymaker, just like RV toilet paper. You don't need toilet paper that says RV on it. You need toilet paper that's septic safe. That's it. It breaks down the same, and it's a lot cheaper. So my opinion, you don't need RV toilet paper, and you don't need ball grease. Okay, so here are the definitions. Payload cap, and cap is short for capacity, if you're unfamiliar with that. Payload is the available weight your vehicle can carry inside the confines of its own frame. So if you're driving a truck and you have your generator in the back, and you have your toolbox, and you have, if you're driving a fifth wheel, for instance, and you have your hitch in there, you have, I don't know, I guess you can't fit much else if you have a fifth wheel, but it's just taking up weight. And then you put your family in there, and your dog, and your suitcases, and all this stuff that all eats into your payload. So I'm going to kind of work backwards a little bit. So if your payload capacity is, we'll just say 2,000 pounds. I don't know why I chose 2085 because that's my Ram's payload cap. And your hitch is 1,900 pounds. So if your payload cap is 2,000 pounds and your hitch is 1,900 pounds, then you need to carry cargo that weighs no more than 100 pounds, including your body weight. So unless you're like a fifth grader, you're probably overweight right out of the gate without carrying your owner's manuals and stuff like that in your glove box. I was going to say folder of CDs, but I think I just aged myself. Your tongue, sorry, so the bullet above that, your hitch weight, the simple thing is your hitch weight is an automatic deduction from payload cap. So if your hitch is 1,900 pounds and your payload is a ton, you've eaten into 1,900 pounds of your 1 ton payload cap. Tongue cap, which is the max available weight your vehicle's frame can carry from the hitch of a trailer. So I put frame, but it's not all inclusive. The frame is it's the tires, it's the suspension. It might be the hitch itself. The hitch might be rated to carry it, or it definitely, it's not might be. It definitely is rated to carry a max weight on the tongue. So all those things go into play. And if you're over your tongue weight, you're damaging your tires, you're damaging your suspension, you're damaging welds in your frame. It's not good. So going back to the stop sign, stop towing overweight. GVWR is gross vehicle weight rating, which is the most your vehicle can safely weigh, including your payload. I think my GVWR is 10,000 pounds. So my payload is 2,000 pounds, and then the truck itself weighs, I guess, 8,000 pounds. So right around 8,000 pounds. Diesels are heavy. GCWR is gross combined weight rating, which is your GVWR plus the last bullet, GTWR, gross trailer weight rating. So your gross trailer weight rating, which I think ours is 7,980, if I remember correctly, that's the most you can load your trailer. I see a lot of pictures, a lot of nightmare stories of, these guys, they take their, and gals, whatever, they take their trailer to Home Depot and, oh, well, I have a camper, I can tow all these bricks or whatever, bags of cement, whatever, and they just load up their camper instead of renting a true trailer, tried and true for towing that stuff, and they're damaging their trailer. And in the same effect as your tongue weight, you're damaging your trailer's tires, your trailer's suspension, your trailer's axles. All those things come into effect. So GTWR plus GVWR cannot be greater than GCWR. And that's kind of step number one in towing. All right. Poop, literally. Black tank maintenance. So this is no one's favorite subject. Everyone that I know hates doing this. But if you're interested in taking full advantage of your rig, then you have to be able to use the toilet for both functions. Like going to a bathhouse and all that stuff. I know some people do it, and to each their own, but it makes it more difficult, especially if you're, boondocking in bear country or something, and you wake up at 3 a.m. and, you got to go. You don't want to be walking across whatever out into the woods or whatever, especially if you have an RV and a toilet right there. Your black tank and gray tank maintenance, it doesn't have to be a nightmare. Just spend money for the quality equipment. Don't try to go to Walmart and save the couple bucks. It's not worth it. It's really not worth it. This is one area. In fact, I'll say that most areas in your RV, you just want to spend the money. Just spend the extra couple bucks. You won't regret it. And as a horror story I can share with you, we bought a cheap surge protector. It's like $40 from Amazon. It lasted a month. We obviously had to throw it away. We just bought a $500 one, I don't know, 8 months ago, something like that. And that thing's a champ. Of course, I lock it to the pedestal, but it's awesome. It lets us know inside the rig, actually, how it faulted, when it faulted, what the amperage was when it faulted. It's awesome. So again, just the proof, what's the saying? I think the actual saying is the proof of the pudding is in the eating or something like that. But just spend the couple bucks and get the quality stuff. And when it comes to dealing with toilet stuff, you won't regret it. The key things: we carry a secondary gate valve, which if you're familiar with your hookups on the rig side, you usually just hook the hose right up to there, and then you have your two valves for black and gray. We have a secondary valve, which allows us to close a gate on top of the hookup. So even if we open black and gray, or if we accidentally leave black and gray open, which I know for a fact, actually my gray is accidentally left open from our last camping. Excuse me. So it's not going anywhere because we have this extra valve that protects that from happening. So that's going to be interesting to deal with when I hook it up next time, but at least it's only gray. A 5-gallon bucket, and I'll come back to that in a second and explain why. 2 Camco Rhino hoses, because you're not always going to reach the sewer, I promise. A truss system for your hoses to keep them at the right angles. And also, if you know how your house plumbing is designed, you'll notice that it's something called a P-trap. So it goes down the drain into a P-trap, which is an elbow below the level of the water line, and then it goes out. So you can duplicate that same thing using your truss system, and it keeps the odors from going back into your rig, which is the point of a P-trap in the first place. So you can actually duplicate your P-trap by setting up your hose in the same way. And if you need any like a image guidance, just do a Google image search for sink or bathroom P-trap, and you'll understand what I mean. A clear elbow, so that's where we have a clear elbow for a 90-degree where it goes into the sewer. That way, when I'm doing black tank flush, going back to the 5-gallon bucket, I can see when it's all clear. So we'll back up now. Because of the 5-gallon bucket, we use that. I do black tank flush, then I close the black tank. This at departure, I close the black tank, I fill up a 5-gallon bucket, I go dump it in the toilet, and then I flush that out, and then I do black tank flush again. You would be disgustingly surprised how much more stuff you're going to get out of your black tank. And you're also keeping your sensors clean. Our rig is almost a year old, and our black and gray tank sensors still function exactly as they did the day we took delivery, which is good. A hose flush adapter is just a simple adapter that allows you to flush the Rhino hoses without contaminating the hose potentially. Of course, you can just stick your hose right into the thing, but no thanks. This allows kind of a little space between the two, and keeps you from contaminating the ends of your hose. No matter what, do carry a black tank flush hose, even if it's just the one to clear your hoses out. But don't use your freshwater hose, even if you think like, well, it's I'm spraying it down from over here. Germs are flying everywhere. Trust me. I actually do have obsessive compulsive disorder, and trust me, it's gross. Toilet wand, which is not the thing you use to clean out your toilet, even though that's beneficial too. It's actually a thing to break down toilet paper. If you have a situation when you're at a campsite, you connect a hose right to the toilet wand, and the toilet wand actually goes into your toilet, and it just spins around using water pressure to clear up any stuck debris that you may have. And speaking of stuck debris, never keep your black tank open as like a permanent thing. It doesn't work like a house toilet. So you're going to generate something called, grossly enough, the poop pyramid. It's literally, if there's no water in there, everything's just falling and it's building on itself, and it literally turns into a pyramid, and that's how you're going to end up with a blockage. So keep water in your black tank at all times. 5-gallon bucket, again, great way to do that. Just fill it up and dump it in your toilet, and then you have water in there, and you're never going to have blockages, and your sensors are going to last. And the breakdown pods or breakdown powder, breakdown liquid, whatever you want to use to help keep the process moving as far as breaking down the stuff that's in the toilet goes. And that also helps prevent odors. This is kind of a graph. It's not kind of a graph. It is a graph that I made that was kind of a joke, is what I was trying to say, but it's also real. So MA is maintenance action. So if you've owned your rig for 1 day, you have 0 maintenance actions. 30 days, I think it was like 5 or something like that. And you'll notice it's a slow increase. But then when you reach when you reach 2 years, it becomes more and more. Again, this is not an intimidation thing. This is more like, if you take care of your rig and you do the right things, you can keep this curve pretty low. But at the 5-year mark, it is going to spike. It's there's nothing you can really do about that. As I said in the beginning, you're towing a house down the road at 70 miles an hour. Things are going to fall apart. But preventive maintenance is huge. You can keep your rig lasting and in beautiful shape for a very long time. But if you do the research, you'll notice that there's a high turnover rate of RVs at around the 5-year mark. And this is the reason. And then this is kind of the joke part. It's probably not 10,000 maintenance actions a year after 10 years of maintenance. But sorry, not a year, total maintenance actions after 10 years. But the spike is a lot more severe at the 5-year mark and beyond. So just keep that in mind if you're going to jump into this, especially you're going to go buy a used RV. It would behoove you to go do your research and to hire a professional to go take a look at your RV and make sure everything is working as advertised before you take possession of your rig. New or used, actually. And as promised, these are all my links, the QR codes here. So I'll just leave this up for the rest. I think that's it, right? Yeah. So I'll leave this up for the rest of my time, which isn't long. I actually managed to talk longer than I thought I could. And just open the floor to questions. I see there's a lot going on in the chat for me. So let me catch up on that, and then we'll open the floor to any questions.
Thank you, Chris. That was a lot of good information. And we've been watching the chat for you because I think it's more important that you talk and you're able to present what you want. Does anybody have any questions for Chris that you want? You can unmute yourself, and sometimes it's easier than trying to type in the chat. So go for it. Don't be shy. One of the questions, Chris, that has come up is that's a lot of numbers for somebody that's new. And a lot of times when we're talking about like the payload and ton capacity and all of that, can you give people like a beginner's version of how they could possibly like figure that out if they don't know? Because we know that you don't really want to trust your truck dealer because they're trying to often sell or they don't know or whatever. So what could you tell them for that?
Yes, that's a great question. And I'm glad you said that because I forgot that I wanted to share one more thing of mine. And as I said in the beginning, and I think if you're an engineer, it's a requirement that you have to say you're an engineer every 10 minutes. So I'm going to say it again. I'm an engineer, and I actually programmed this really simple calculator that's on my website. Let me actually stop the share. I'll just share it from there. So sorry, you have to bear with me. I'm not used to Zoom. I'm a Microsoft Teams guy. So let's see, Google Chrome. Here we go. Share. Okay, so here's my website. And if you go to lastmancamping.com, just click on tow calculator. There's actually a break here programmed in that allows you to go straight to tow calculator. Sorry, like I said, allergies to tow calculator. And I'm actually going to stop share again. And then I'm going to share my tow calculator. So I promise this is not a virus. You guys just all watched me download it myself onto my own computer. So you can do again. And you know what? Let me back up one step, because Christine just mentioned something that's near and dear to my heart. These RV dealers and truck dealers, they'll do anything to sell you something, which is why they don't talk about payload and they don't talk about tongue or hitch weight. They leave those things out. So if you go to like granddesign.com and start looking around, you'll notice they have, sorry again, you'll notice they have gross weight, but you have to dig until you find hitch weight, which is like, okay, great. So my Ram 2500 can tow 17,000 pounds gross weight. Wonderful. But a hitch weight of something that's 17,000 pounds is like 1.5 tons, which is a 0.5 ton more than my hitch weight, my payload cap. So it's a no-no, which is why they're keeping these numbers from you. So you want to make sure that you're diving into the details and having a look. So this calculator makes it pretty simple. We'll try to, if I can remember my RAM off the top of my head, my tow vehicle gross vehicle weight is 10 grand. Curb weight I think is 8,000, whatever. What's going on here? Max payload. Oh, well, this is weird. Okay, watch this not work right in front of everybody. I know it works because I've used it. Tow vehicle max is 26,000. Okay, so there you go. Now things are starting to turn green. Tow vehicle max tow capacity, we'll call it 16 grand. Tow vehicle passenger weight. So if I'm 200 and my wife is not, and we have a dog and 2 kids and all that stuff coming with us, we'll just say 500 pounds. Tow vehicle cargo weight, we have 150 pounds of luggage, whatever. And tow vehicle max tongue weight is 1,800 pounds. And my trailer is 7,980. Trailer dry weight is 6,100, I think, something like that. Trailer tongue weight is going to be approximately 10% of the gross vehicle weight, so 800 pounds. And trailer cargo, we'll say we probably have 350 pounds of cargo in there. Now, why tow vehicle max payload spec? I don't okay. So I guess I need to reprogram my calculator because something's not working all of a sudden. But this should work, and it did before. So this, as you can see, your gross vehicle weight minus your curb weight should result, should result in your max payload. And my max payload, like I said, is 2,085 pounds. And as you can see, the resultant payload of every number that I put in is 1,450 pounds. And my GCWR is 17.7, and my max GCWR is 26,000, and my trailer weighs 6,450. So again, this is all like pretty straightforward. And if you really want like the simple version, or you want to be able to rewatch and like maybe write down some stuff, I do have a YouTube video based on this, and I'll dump it. I'm so sorry, my allergies are killing me. I'll dump it in the chat. It's not, I'll admit, it's not our most exciting video. There's not a whole lot going on. It's just me sitting actually in the same room that you see me in right now. But oh, whoops, sorry, did it as a direct message. Okay, there you go. So you can take a look at that. And I'll try to fix the calculator. I don't know what's going on there. I know it worked when I uploaded it, so whatever. I guess for me, and I'm apparently choking to death.
Thank you, Chris. And you did that. I know that's confusing. You know, if your brain doesn't think like an engineer and you want to have like, there's other ways that, you know, you can reach out to Chris and he can help you with that. You can reach out to me, you can reach out to Tara. That's probably the most confusing part about RVing, honestly. And it's the most talked about thing on Facebook, and everybody, you know, is always like, well, that's the most difficult thing. So if you can get past that and we can help you, you'll be fine. So if that kind of left you feeling a little bit overwhelmed because you're not a numbers person, don't worry, you can still RV. Don't let fear hold you back because of math, I promise. And it looks like Jeannie and Shari both have questions. Jeannie, do you want to unmute and then we'll go to Shari? Or were you just raising your hand? Okay, well, ask Shari while we try. Jeannie, did you want to talk?
Yeah, it wasn't letting me unmute. I kept pressing, but now I'm good.
I figured that's what that meant. See, I can read that language.
So we just bought 1959 Shasta camper. So that's obviously over 5 years old. So I'm like, oh my gosh, shoot. We do have a buyer for it though. So if anything, we can press that. So my husband is really handy. He's a boat builder, so he's used to, this is obviously good information, which he's going to listen to, but any suggestions that we should do other than sell it?
So one
You're
thing
gonna
I'll say,
Airbnb it out of your yard. That's
Yeah,
what you're gonna
that's
do.
true
You
too.
don't tow it around, you sit it somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, things that were built at that time were built with a lot more uh quality craftsmanship.
for ability, I hope.
Yeah. So you're talking about something that's is probably still perfectly safe. I still recommend
Mint, yeah.
having someone look over it. Obviously, I can't do that over the phone or whatever. If anything's wrong, it's probably going to be ducting and plumbing. And maybe, you definitely want to check into things like your tires, your axles, make sure there's no cracks, anything like that. Your axle grease, I'm 100% positive needs to be repacked. Who knows when the last time someone did that? And then if you don't do stuff like that, you end up with a seized bearing, and no equipment in your trailer starts pulling your tow vehicle to one side, and you blow a tire and God knows what else. But those are all like the simple, quick things to take a look at. Repacking your axle grease isn't that big of a deal. YouTube again and we're going to do it on our rig here shortly. So there will be a YouTube video there. If you go to my YouTube and subscribe, it'll probably be up in the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, I'll say. But yeah, so there you go. Christine yearly. That's probably about right for as much RVing as you do.
I travel a lot.
I go about the 10,000 mile mark. If you feel like you've hit 10,000 miles on your rig, then you should repack your bearings.
All
I
right,
don't know if
thank
that answered your question or not. Sorry.
yeah. I don't know. He's listening, so we'll
Okay.
thank
Okay.
you.
Well, and Jeannie, I think he had really great points too of like the quality craftsmanship. Everybody will say that was actually better before. Once we hit COVID, a lot of people, the quality, they just couldn't get parts and things started to go downhill a little and it just wasn't as good quality. So there are some RV parks that won't let you have it over a certain number of years, which is silly, but just they'll usually ask you that if that's a requirement. But otherwise, just are you looking to like use it or rent it?
Both, but I guess we're leaving now, maybe just renting it, doing
Oh,
it
okay.
thing. Yeah.
Because I was going to say, just go enjoy it. And, like he said, you can check out these things and then just go enjoy it. And don't worry about how old it is if you aren't having problems.
Oh no,
And
yeah,
Shari,
like small trips, but yeah, we'll check it out. Thank you.
had a question too, Chris, and she said, what is your most common repair? Let me see if I can unmute you.
I don't know. Like
There you are. We can
the
hear
bar
you.
won't come back up on the top for some reason. I don't know what's going on. I wouldn't say I have a most common repair. I have most common preventive maintenance. Like one thing I do routinely is I'll take my whole hitch system apart, including the spring arms and all that stuff, and I'll sand them down. Not like you don't want to sand them down to a point where you're showing bare metal. That's really bad. But getting the rust and the particulates from the road and stuff off of there. The same thing goes for my receiver on the truck side. I clean that all out, get all the rust out of there. A lot of people aren't aware, and this is from my Navy background coming from aviation. Rust is a living organism. You have to kill it. It will eat metal. It will continue to grow unless you eradicate the problem. So early preventive maintenance for anything that is constantly in a moist environment, your axles, your lugs, not your lug nuts, but your lugs, because your lug nuts are usually plated to keep corrosion from happening. But your whole hitch mechanism, all that stuff, preventive maintenance, and especially preventing rust on something that obviously goes down, highways with God knows what hitting the underneath, including water and oils and all kinds of stuff that are on the highways and roads.
Yeah, that's a great point. I know Chris doesn't like mine because I have a rusty hitch. But they recommend taking it off every time. But from a female camper, they're heavy And I just like to fly by the seat of my pants and never know when I'm going to be RVing. So I don't take mine off. So everybody tells me that. So all the guys, they're like, oh, you got to take that off. It's rusty. I'm like, I know. But I bought on Amazon a little tow ball cover. It's not a tow hitch cover. It's a tow ball cover, literally $2. And it just goes right over the ball. And I'm like, gosh, I should have bought that years ago. So if you don't end up taking yours off, or if it gets rusty, you can reach out to Chris, or, there's spray that you can get and some other things too. But what he's telling you is definitely the best prevention. Because once it gets rusty, it's kind of hard to go back, but that does help, and it's cheap if you can do that. Does anybody else have any questions? Tara, have you seen anything in the chat to help Chris out here?
I didn't see any other questions, but I would say that my most common repair that we've had to do 3 times is that dang thermal fuse for our hot water heater. And now I've learned that I have to keep at least 2 to 3 spares on hand at any given time. Otherwise, you're stuck with cold water.
I haven't had that one yet. Oh boy, something to learn. I know who to call if it happens now.
I figured it out randomly myself from YouTube when
Yay!
we didn't have any hot water, and I'm like, what the heck? This is a brand new RV, and it happened 2 times. And
Are you in
something
a
with
Grand
like
Design?
no, we have a Winnebago Mini, and then No Boundaries, a Novo.
Oh,
It
you have a
happened in both of them.
You're driving, okay.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think a lot of them happen to be like wind would blow in the hot water heater and mess up the pilot light and
Yeah, we've had that.
send it off. So now I just know.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely telling Ryan that he has to turn off the propane, because I did not know that at all. And we just thought we needed the refrigerator. So we did exactly what we weren't supposed to do, apparently. So when we leave in 2 days,
Yeah.
that's
You're
going
not
on our
alone.
checklist.
I ran a survey in my group that a lot of people had the same answer. Yeah, we tow with it on all the time. So
Yeah.
you're not alone. It's just
Well,
not.
the only time they made us turn it off going from Pennsylvania to New Jersey in the tunnel. Like they pulled
Mhm.
everybody over and they make you turn it off. And I was like, well, that's weird. I've never had to turn this off before, but okay. Now I'm like, oh, maybe they don't want us blowing up the tunnel.
Yep, that's exactly why. That's their biggest concern, is usually tunnels and bridges, places where you can get stuck and you can't get out. But I think this shows too, you guys, nobody's going to know everything when it comes to RVing. It goes back to Chris's first slide, is that you learn a lot of it when things go wrong. For me, it's always been the heater. Like, I know a lot about the propane in the heater because that's what tends to break. I haven't had the water heater pieces break, but that's part of RVing, is that don't let this like hold you back. And, as we tell stories and things like this, because we're all out doing it because we love it. It's just like a house. There's annoying things that go wrong all the time. There just are. So it's kind of like that, but you can, if you're not a DIY person, which I'm personally not, so that's why I was looking forward to Chris's. I know a lot of the things that have broken, once they break, you'll remember. But as far as new things, that's, I just call my mobile RV guy. He's on speed dial. We're friends now. He gives me a discount. And so Chris is offering, that he can be that person for you too. And Tara and I both offer other different perspectives of things that we do as well. So we're here to help you and the community, even when you get to the campground. I can't tell you how many times it's usually men when it comes to repairs. We'll just come in and, be like, oh, let me fix your OC. Let me fix that. And then, but it can be both. That's just how it often, tends to plan out. But does anybody else have any other questions? Oh yeah, and Shari's saying bring a space heater in case it goes out in the middle of the night. Yeah, because we just had our heat go out. She stayed with me in Colorado Springs a couple months ago. And yeah, the propane went out in the middle of the night, just like it always does for me, no matter how much I prepare, the middle of the night in the snow. I'm like, oh. So yeah, we always keep a space heater. And if you're hooked up to electric, it's no big deal. So Chris, did you want to have any other closing words and share your links, and then we'll make sure we introduce what Tara's going to be speaking about tomorrow?
I'll make this super short and sweet. If you have a phone and you have the applications that are down below, please, like I said at the beginning, trying to grow this community. So take them away and go follow, go join, go to our website and sign up for our email distro. I really don't email you much. Don't worry. It's like once a week or once every 2 weeks. Go subscribe to our YouTube, which I don't have on here. I'm disappointed in myself. But if you use the QR code for the LMC website, we have all our social links up there next to our branding logo. So you can go to YouTube from there and subscribe. And this is, it took me a little while to find my niche, but the niche is the maintenance and stuff like that. So you will see some videos I'm not so proud of if you watch them all, but there are a couple that I think are helpful at this point.
Thank you, Chris. That's really awesome. Yeah, you can tell that this is where you're passionate about, and there's a lot of different things involved in RVing. And so it helps to have that community of people that you reach out and that you know who to call when you have something go wrong, right? So that's one of the great things. And Tara, we'll let you talk, but you'll get a replay of tonight, and you'll also should have already gotten a replay of last night when I spoke. And then Tara is tomorrow. So you guys, we'd love for you to come and support her and be live. That's our last night, our finale. And she is going to be teaching you of how to make income on the road to support your RV lifestyle. So I'll let her share about that.
Yes, I am Tara Hirschberg. We are currently in the process of our second 6 months on the road. We do half time, 6 months traveling, 6 months at home, and we live 100% off of passive income. So we can do whatever we want, whenever we want, wherever we want, as long as I have an internet connection, which is my rule. So we can go out in the nature all we want, but I need an internet connection.
Now we know why. It's so you
Yes.
can go this lifestyle. See, it came full circle.
Yes, it is. So we love our Starlink. It's amazing. And yeah, I'll teach you lots of tips and tricks and money making things and how we do it personally. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't tell you what to do with your money, but I can tell you what I do with my money and how I live this life. And if you want to hop on the board, join me.
Yay, thank you. Well, thank you both. And it looks like we had one more question. Are the passive income opportunities for on the road folks only, or can other people do that as well, Tara?
Technically, it's anybody. RV life is my niche because that's what I love, but really anybody who wants to make money with their money.
And Jeannie, I hope I'm saying your name right. She said that she's doing it as well. And yeah, I know Tara. And so this isn't, something that she's just out saying she's making a lot of money. This is really what she does to support her passion for RVing. And so, I'm excited to hear the tips she has too. Just like I was tonight, because both of these are completely different niches than mine. And so I just love learning from everybody else as well. So thank you guys for coming. Watch for the replays. If you have friends that want to see the replay, if you want to just give them the original link, then they can get all of them as well, or reach out to any of us if you have any problems sharing, and we'll be sharing on social media tomorrow. But thank you guys for coming, and I hope you have a great night. Reach out if you guys have any questions, or if you are interested in joining any of our memberships. And we'll see y'all tomorrow night, same time, whatever time zone you started tonight.